Operation Mockingbird, fake stream, lame stream media is to distract, deceive, and divide the masses, and therefore make them easily conquerable for the military-industrial complex, because they are the PR, the public relations marketing firm for the military-industrial complex. And what I love about truth is that very, very simple truths can be demonstrated to poke holes in the thick fabric of deceit. Check this out.
Okay, I'm going to try to put things in perspective here with this big pile of rice. I bought this today. This is roughly 80,000 grains of rice. Okay, so this is about 3 pounds of rice here. So I'm going to have this represent the global population of roughly 8 billion. Okay, so we're going to try to do some math here. We're going to try to put things in perspective. Here we go. Every year, 16 million people die from cardiovascular disease. That's 160 grains of rice. From diarrhea, 16 million.
I think you meant 1.6 million, but you get the point.
Car accidents, 1.2 million. It's over 3,000 people die every day from car accidents. Suicide, 800,000. All right, now the big one. The one that made us shut down the entire global economy. The one that is affecting all of us, where we have lockdowns and, you know, we've got all these things going on. People getting arrested for playing baseball with their, you know, with their kids over at the park. This is the big one. The one that we all have to be afraid of. One. Okay, so this giant pile of rice here, the one that represents the global population of 8 billion people, all have to be put on lockdown. All have to have their rights taken away because of that 1 grain of rice.
And I love the way this guy lays it out in simplicity, and it shines the spotlight on the idiocracy, let's put it, of mainstream media trying to scare us with CV19 numbers. And this 1 grain of rice, it's really not even 1 grain of rice. I'm going to continue with this video, but I'm going to show you how it's way less. It's a fraction of 1 grain of rice if you just take facts into consideration.
Those 100,000 people, which again, whenever anybody dies, it's sad. But guess what? People die from the flu every year. There's 150,000 people that die every single day. So if they're not going to put these numbers in perspective here.
And 1.5 million people die every single year from TB. 10 million people contract tuberculosis and 1.5 million people die. That means it's a 15% case fatality rate, not 0.1% or less for CV19. And nobody shuts the world down for TB.
It means that they're doing a lot of fear mongering because most people don't look at it this way. Most people don't go out and buy 3 pounds of rice just to put things to scale here. So there's an agenda behind all this. Don't believe the hype. Go outside, get sunlight, enjoy life.
I love that. He did a fantastic job, and I want to show you this. And it is absolutely that. It is fear-mongering. The numbers that they're putting on our screens are 100% fraudulent. Let me show you something. Here's the current, as of the recording of this video, this is the current CNN front page for YouTube, and I've just picked out just various videos. Here's the first video. Look. See that number? Total cases, deaths, total cases in the United States, deaths from the Johns Hopkins University Fear Porn Death Map website. Next video. Look, total cases, deaths. You have to know, million cases now. 50 Cent, we're reaching the numbers of the Vietnam, the amount of lives the Vietnam War took, the Banker War called Vietnam. Look at this. More total death cases, deaths. Got to keep it in front of you at all times so that the sheeple can be scared. More than 1 million U.S. coronavirus cases. More than 58,000 Americans have died. Oh, really? Do we know that? No, they don't know that. How do we know they don't know that? Because they haven't separated, isolated, visualized, or purified the virus. And there's proof in that in their own medical papers and their own medical journals. Look at this. More death. Stay at home. Stop the spread. Save lives. Be responsible. Shelter in place. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Maintain social distancing. Flatten the curve. Obey us. We will keep you safe. Look, here are the numbers again. So this grain of rice that this guy shows right here, it's less than 1 grain of rice. It's less than that right there. That makes it even more ridiculous. So how do we know the numbers are fake? Let me just show you what a couple doctors are saying. And then I'm going to verify with what the CDC says. The World Health Organization, the CDC, the CV-19 task force tells you that the numbers are fraudulent. All these numbers right here that I just scrolled through on CNN, all these numbers that they're constantly putting before us on every 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week news cycle are fraudulent. And I'm going to prove that using the CDC, the World Health Organization, and Deborah Birx from the CV-19 task force. But first, let's weigh in on what some doctors are saying about recording deaths under CV-19.
When I'm writing up my death report, I'm being pressured to add COVID. Why is that? Why are we being pressured to add COVID to maybe increase the numbers and make it look a little bit worse than it is? I think so.
Illinois' virus-related death toll continues to climb. The director of public health took time today to explain how the department...
Illinois' CV virus death toll continues to climb. Here's why. Here's why that death toll number continues to climb.
Someone an actual COVID death. It can be a little confusing. She says anyone who has COVID when they pass away will be included in that category. Dr. Ngozi Ezike.
Anyone who dies with CV-19 will be included in the CV-19 death toll, fear porn death map, Johns Hopkins number. Every one of them.
They explain this does not mean the virus caused that death, but if someone does test positive for COVID before dying, that is classified a coronavirus fatality.
Now listen to this. This is a government official from the state of Illinois. And this is not isolated to states. This is federal.
Were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that...
What they're saying is our numbers are fraudulent. They're fixed. The books are cooked. They're admitting this. And CNN still has the gall to put these numbers and flash them on our screens as though they're legitimate. This is dishonest news. They are literally guilty of committing a crime because based on these numbers, people are out of work. People are standing in socialist-style breadlines. People are starving. People are committing suicide. People are stressed out and their immune systems are being lowered. CNN, MSLSD, faux news, anybody who flashes these numbers on here and tells you they're legitimate are committing a crime, not just against the American people, but against the world. Look at this. This is global total cases. This is global total supposed deaths. This is United States deaths and total cases, which can't even be confirmed because they haven't isolated the virus. And they admit that in their papers. I've done a couple videos on that already.
Even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So
even if you died of something else, it still counts as a COVID death. You flew a kite and you got struck by lightning, COVID death. You fell out of a tree, sorry, Johnny, COVID death. You got into a car accident, COVID death. You committed suicide. There's even cases where people have committed suicide. They test them, they test positive, which it's an 80% false positive result. COVID-19. They put it in the pile. They add to that number, and then they throw it up on screens all across, not just the country, all across the world. CNN is global. Global. It's a global lie. A clearly demonstrable global lie.
Everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death.
So they're admitting it, guys. They're admitting it. And here's what another doctor says.
I received an email last week from the Department of Health coaching me on how to fill out death certificates. They were saying, you don't have to have a confirmed laboratory test for COVID-19 in order to make the death certificate be COVID-19.
By the way, that's according to the World Health Organization, U07.2. Just look it up, U07.2. Do your own research. Look at what the research says. Now watch this. This is from the National Vital Statistics System from the CDC. How did they say you should log a CV-19 death? CV-19 should be reported on the death certificate for all decedents, where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to the death. Maybe you still don't believe. Let's listen to what Deborah Birx, part of the Trump administration CV-19 task force, has to say about piling numbers onto the fictitious death count.
There are other countries that if you had a pre-existing condition, and let's say the virus caused you to go to the ICU and then have a heart or kidney problem, some countries are recording that as a heart issue or a kidney issue and not a COVID-19 death. Right now, we're still recording it, and the great thing about having forms that come in and a form that has the ability to mark it as COVID-19 infection, the intent is right now that if someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that.
So Deborah Birx, part of the CV-19 presidential task force, is admitting that these numbers that are constantly being flashed on mainstream fake stream media, these numbers are fraudulent, 100% fraudulent. And based on that fraud, they have committed economic terrorism. Please share this video with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google police in the comment section.